that audio recording locked in.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
I'm starting off this week again with the statement, not a lot going on in football this week, except for one major thing we'll talk about later.
How much later?
Depending on my editing time, maybe 23 minutes from now.
Okay, sounds good. Why don't we slice that first piece of cheese here?
Oh, shit. Was that the shtick coming out?
Yeah.
I'm pretty, impressed with the AAF right now. Not necessarily with the gameplay. Like I've said before, it's like watching the Canadian Football League where it's like, yeah, these guys aren't really good enough to make it in the NFL, and it shows.
Some of them were.
But not anymore. So the cool thing about the AAF, besides all the cool things we've mentioned before.
Besides being really cool already.
It really gets my inner techie nerd. They have sensors inside the ball, and they have sensors, it must be inside the helmet or something, because I've got, this wasn't brought into my attention until Lil Bro Jeezy.
Oh, that's right. Thanks, Lil Bro Jeezy, for the reference.
So wherever you are, Lil Bro Jeezy, thank you. I feel like a lot of people do research for us, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, this makes our job easier.
Yeah, it does.
So this one's actually from AAF.com, written by Jose Romero and Dylan Rubino. The gist of it is that Wilson teamed up with the Alliance of American Football. Wilson!
Isn't that the guy who...
What are we gonna do, Wilson?
Yeah, he lived on that island with Tom Hanks, exactly.
What are we gonna do, Wilson? Anyways.
I feel like you were waiting for me to laugh and it didn't come until you looked back at me.
The Alliance of American Football called up Tom Hanks and said, hey, can we borrow this Wilson guy? And they're making a football together. And the cool thing is, it has sensors inside of it. It's got a telemetry chip so fans can log into the AAF app and, see the speed of the football, spin rate, trajectory.
It says you get spin rate, velocity, and spiral efficiency, which is, I was saying this before, I'm saying it again. What is spiral efficiency?
In my professional engineering opinion, it's probably...
Hold on, before you say any more, are you saying you have no idea?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's probably when you see a quarterback throw a ball and it's got a spiral to it, but it's like flopping up and down. It's a lame duck, just...
Okay.
I imagine a spiral efficiency of 100% would be a ball spinning in a straight line. And, for instance, a spiral efficiency of 0% would be an end-over-end kick.
So you're saying this has to do about how tight it can...
How tight of a spiral it is, I think.
It can rotate about one axis?
The football is spinning about its own axis, right? Like the Earth, right?
Exactly.
Spinning by its own axis. And then it's got wobble to it about another axis.
Exactly. I'm following.
And my thought is spiral efficiency means there's no wobble about the other axis, just purely...
But could spiral efficiency be measured in how many rotations per... Could it be an RPM measurement?
Efficiency
has to be a percentage.
That's correct.
But if you read this whole sentence, this is so absurd. We do feel that data points like spin rate and velocity and spiral efficiency have the opportunity to engage fans in a way that they haven't been engaged before.
Oh, they're all getting married?
First off, they're all getting married. Second off, it's a deeper, richer story. It helps a fan connect to that player on the field in a way that just hasn't been done that consistently before. What richer story are we finding out by that spiral efficiency?
All that means now is that we're going to have some clowns sitting in their mom's basement. That quarterback can only throw at a velocity of 45 meters per second.
And his spiral efficiency is approximately 78%.
So, I mean, he's just really trash. He's trash. Yeah, we're going to start logging stats like this, and it's going to get annoying.
Pro Football Reference would become a tomb.
You could already get down the Pro Football Reference rabbit hole so quickly.
You can. You really can. Look, I love this. Personally, I know I haven't said anything positive yet. The truth is I love this. I love everything about it. And I went into the app, the AAF app, to check it out. I was like, this is gamification of a game. You get points and you're like, you get addicted and you level up and all this stuff. It's like, ooh, this is American football. I need American consumerism and I need other addictions.
In this article I mentioned earlier, it was strange the way they worded it. They said, and I think I know what he means. He says, The ball's design has been labeled as, quote, disruptive and unlike any other football being used today. And I read that line and I went, like, is it
fucking up the whole game?
Does it look like the XFL ball that looked like Eddie Van Halen's guitar?
I thought they used the Nerf howler.
The John Elway howlers. They went.
I thought that's the XFL used.
No, but I get what he's trying to say. It's edgy. It's sweet. It disrupts the normal flow. But if anybody wants to, the AAF app, just obviously search in your app store or Google Play, whatever tickles your fancy, the Alliance of American Football. And you'll get the app, and it's free. And like Jeezy was saying, it's a game. Like, I tried watching it during a live game, and you're able to predict run, pass, and I guess you level up based on these things. And I couldn't find like the spin rate and all these other things, but maybe when I level up, I'll get to unlock that achievement. I think it's pretty cool for all the people that haven't used the app. When you're watching the game, and let's say you don't have access to the game itself, there must be GPS trackers in the helmet or something, because you get to see the people's actual location on the field. I was watching it during halftime, and it showed me exactly where the punters and long snappers and kickers were as they were warming up for the second half. Why do I need to know that? I don't, but it's cool.
I thought it was cool to see players going on and off the field, seeing the number swap, because it's not easy exactly to see that happening.
But the funny thing about it is that the figures they use to represent the players are like bobbleheads.
They are.
It's a big-ass helmet and a tiny little body.
So as a transition here, right? Final quote from that previous article. The ball is unique. It says a lot about the league. It has our logo. We made it ours. We're going to make this league happen. And that final line there is like, wait, was there any second guessing about this whole league happening?
Speaking of balls, let's talk about dropping them, because the AAF already needed a bailout. It's 2 weeks in and they couldn't pay people. So the Carolina Hurricanes owner, Tom Dundon, paid them $250 million to give the players paychecks, essentially, which makes him the league's new chairman, according to an article on Deadspin.
Yeah, I saw the article from Tom Lay. The final two sentences of this are really what set the tone, I think. Meanwhile, attendance at the league's Week 2 games was pretty grim. Hopefully Dundon isn't hoping for a big return on his investment.
The article quotes someone who apparently is one source. One source said, "You can always tell people their checks are going to be a little late, but how many are going to show up on the weekend for games when they don't see anything hit their bank accounts on Friday?"
Whoops.
It's just funny to me that they're like, yeah, could you just not cash that check until like Tuesday? I'm waiting for a deposit to hit my account.
Love the AAF.
We've said some good things. We've said some bad things about the AAF, but if I could summarize the AAF in one word, it would be, yeah, that's neat. Neat doesn't mean it's useful or has a place in society, or it's just, oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of a macaroni necklace. You know, it's like, maybe, maybe it's better than a macaroni necklace. It's the equivalent of, I guess maybe macaroni necklace is right. It's a macaroni necklace of football. You know, it's not making any money.
No, but like,
it's neat.
It's something that, like, you know, someone substantially younger than you made, and you have to look at it and go, oh, wow, that's so good.
I think the AAF might be slightly better than a macaroni necklace, but I can't find, like, as soon as you said neat as the review, that was the first thing that came. Oh, macaroni necklace, great.
But what about like a macaroni picture of an owl? Like, you know, when they take and they glue macaroni to paper?
Yes, I had for a long. My dad still has one that I made it from first grade of a wreath, a Christmas wreath. So it is a big circle with all this macaroni glued to it, then spray painted gold, and then they put a little red ribbon under it.
Because pasta isn't yellow enough already. You have to paint it gold.
Paint it gold, baby. This is America, just like the little Wilson logo on the side of the football.
Speaking of footballs and logos, Cody Parkey gets released from the Bears in brief news that we think is funny. Was anybody shocked by this?
I think the correct way to phrase this is the Bears got a discount double doink, and they saved a lot of money on their payroll.
The thing I'm most upset about this is it severely cuts down on our pool of jokes we can make about kickers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll go to the AAF, though.
Are the goalposts wider in the AAF?
I don't know. I can't imagine they are. Just post on each corner of the field.
You have to keep it between the sidelines. Can you do that, Cody? I don't have a good segue other than cheesying our way into Packers news.
Why don't we cut a fresh slice of cheese?
Didn't you already say that one in the beginning?
Yeah, but why don't we just use that? That's the only cheese analogy that makes any sense I can think of.
Cheesy on down the road.
Let's cheesy on down the road.
We'll get better at this shtick, everybody. We promise.
How about we flip that grilled cheese over?
Packers news section here. We've hired a new special teams coordinator, Sean Menenga. I have an article here from Packers.com. My favorite line, and the line I think you're going to love the most, is a quote from Sean Menenga. We're going to beat them over the head with what the rules are. Little special teamy, our little friend, little special teamy here.
Oh, my child.
Mr. Menenga is really what you can imagine as the teacher that had the ruler to wrap the child over the fingers when they were doing wrong.
This has got wild. Go ahead.
This is what I want to see. I want to see Sean Menenga carrying a ruler in his hand at all times, and when special teamy decides to commit another penalty,
just right on the hands, right on the knuckles.
That's right. And then during parent-teacher conferences, the parents come in and say, I heard you struck my son. Little special teamy here. And Mr. Menenga says, well, I just cannot allow these infractions to continue. Not in my classroom.
Oh, no. Sorry, Mr. Menenga. We'll get him straight.
Maybe you need to take care of these problems at home.
Oh, now there's home problems again for the second time with my little special teamy.
Well, if there weren't problems at home, we wouldn't have to, have this ruler here in class.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Menenga. Are you hitting any other children besides special teamy here?
Special teamy seems to be the only student I have having these problems. There's 31 other students in this class that don't have a problem. But special teamy, specifically last year, had 33 infractions. 7 of them I let slide. 26 accepted infractions here.
You are stretching this right now.
But I'll not allow a single one in this class anymore.
I don't know what else to say. Look, the truth is that the Packers special teams, led by Ron Zook, were a monstrosity. We talked about how they deserved an F. They got an F from one of the earlier articles we already referenced.
Can I pull one more bit from this article to show you how bad it was? Our longest punt return of the year, 24 yards. Our longest kickoff return of the year, 38 yards. 5 lost fumbles. Our opponents had 5 returns of at least 40 yards and just 1 lost fumble. That's depressing. That makes me sad on the inside.
I read this. I liked what he's got to say. He's talking about spending a lot of time in the film room and the game, preparing for these different games and just doing the fundamentals right, playing smart. In special teams, I didn't think that we weren't trying hard. I felt like we were trying bad. Special teamy is grounded till further notice. You have my word, Mr. Menenga. I am going to do everything in my power to set this right.
I'm hopeful. Cautiously hopeful.
I'm cautiously hopeful, but I already know special teams will not be the problem in 2019. I'm going to say it right now.
Wow. It is 6:11 p.m. on the East Coast, February 25th, 2019. Jeezy says special teams will not be the Packers' issue in 2019.
I'm telling you right now, Van, I think that our 2019-2020 season will hinge on whether or not Mike Pettin and that defense take that next big hurdle. Because our special teams, I think, are going to get to a very standard, not completely fucking over our chances to win level under our new special teams coach. And we're going to be back to a team where our defense is going to be the big question mark. I think our offense comes together. I think we saw some things really taking shape. And I think with everybody healthy at the beginning of the year, I think we're going to look strong on offense. But on defense, I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced.
So you think that little defense-y is going to be the problem child next year?
I mean, that's not my child. Look, I think Mike Pettin is a great coach. I think he'll do it. And our defense wasn't horrible last year either. We just got to do it.
Ha ha!
Oh, there was no warning. Just that gossip girl popped out of nowhere.
Keeping you on your toes. I feel like we've talked about it the past 3 weeks. Antonio Brown, who I've been sick of for the past 2.5 weeks, per an NFL.com article, Steelers GM has received inquiries from 3 teams about Antonio Brown. This article from Adam Maya does not specifically mention what 3 teams it was.
So I, heading up our Twitter over here, I posted out there on our social media, I said, how high of a draft pick would you trade for @AntonioBrown84? Is he worth any first round picks? We did get some responses here. You'll be pleased to know. @Brennan C. Green.
Oh, my quarterback. Get a shout out again.
Said Green Bay could give up their 3rd round pick, and if more is needed, throw in a 6th, maybe even 7th if that's declined. Then move that 3rd round pick up to a 2nd round pick. What do you think about all that?
I just feel like the Steelers are asking for too much, man.
What are they asking for? Did we get I haven't heard any numbers yet.
I think it's all speculation, but all the speculation says like multiple 1st round picks and stuff like this. The dude's 30 years old.
30, exactly.
But he's made 7 Pro Bowls, and he's good, but he's also $22 million in cap space this year.
I didn't do any research to do any calculations or anything, but I'm okay with a 3rd round pick giving it up and maybe a 6th or 7th down there. Maybe even a 6th and a 7th. I'm not sure.
I think that a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick is reasonable for a guy that has off the field issues, locker room issues, and is got a lot of cap space hit this year. I think 3rd and 7th round picks are pretty reasonable.
I just don't know if I give up any 1st round picks for AB. Look, I think it would be awesome. The idea of having Rodgers, Adams, Brown as our passing receiving trio out there. I mean, plus, there's other actors on the stage, but that trio right there, that's tight.
I want rapid fire response here.
Shoot.
The 3 teams that you believe are referred to in this article. Go.
Packers. The Jets, because I think they always steal from Pittsburgh. And honestly, I couldn't come up with another team. I don't know who else might be interested. The Broncos, because John Elway's just buys any name.
No.
Who do you think?
My 3 off the top of my head were Patriots, Jets, and Browns.
Patriots is a good answer. Browns is a good answer, too.
Because fucking Bill Belichick has always got some shit like that up his sleeve. And speaking of the Patriots, I'm going to take advantage of this segue while I have it. Robert Kraft is in connection with a prostitution ring. Pretty despicable if you read some of the details of it. And I've read from a couple different articles. One of them is from dailywire.com. One of them is from 24/7 Sports, and some other ones I don't have pulled up here. My understanding is it was essentially a sex trafficking ring where there were some women who were held captive in there, and Robert Kraft was videotaped, which is quite ironic that there was videotaping going on. Looking at you, Bill Belichick, videotaping practices. Robert Kraft was videotaped at least twice going in and out of said sex trafficking hotel.
No, not a hotel. The ridiculous thing is it's a strip mall that is at one end an Outback Steakhouse.
Not a Denny's. We're
looking for all restaurant sponsorships.
I was struggling to figure out a way to fit Denny's into this podcast, and I just had to do it.
Denny's, we love you. Outback Steakhouse is the anchor on this particular strip mall in Florida.
Denny's, Outback Steakhouse, fight for our sponsorship. Go.
Oh, my God. Here's the quote from that Daily Wire article you were talking about. The police said Mr. Kraft visited twice, dropped off by a driver. The mall, anchored on one end by an Outback Steakhouse, is near lushly landscaped gated communities and less than 5 miles from Trump National Golf Club in Jupiter.
I did see all that, yeah.
How shitty of a strip mall is it that it's anchored by an Outback Steakhouse?
Oh, whoa. Watch what you're saying, because that's our potential sponsor.
No. I'm not saying that Outback Steakhouse is necessarily shitty. I'm saying, like, normally an anchor for a mall is like Macy's or some kind of big store.
We'll take your sponsorship too, Macy's.
I mean, I can kind of imagine what this might be like. It's like when you go to that TGI Fridays little mini mall area or the Outback. Yep. I mean, I guess this is Outback Steakhouse, but
it's next to a Burlington coat factory.
I mean, could you imagine? It's like Robert Kraft pulls up in a limousine.
Just strolling through Regency Mall.
just strolling through this little strip mall. He's just like, oh yeah, I think I'll stop here at the Orchids of Asia. You know what else I heard?
What's that? What did you hear?
I heard it. The video shows him paying $79 for spa services. I heard this $79 quote from a coworker. I won't name the person, but so I have no idea if that's a real anything.
On this podcast, everything is real. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Okay, we openly advertise that our facts are unchecked and we have questionable opinions, so...
It was an unchecked fact, questionable opinion, which I am just relaying, and they might have not even said $79. That was 6 hours ago that it was told to me, so could have been any number.
Adam Schefter finds all the juiciest stuff, and he's always the front line of breaking news. But Adam Schefter says that the story is going to heat up and get worse. Robert Kraft's not even the biggest name involved. There's about 200 people who may be involved. Some of them are just regular people. It's crazy.
Robert Kraft is worth almost $7 billion with a B.
Right.
$billion.
Yep.
Who's the, I mean, maybe they're more famous than Robert Kraft, but who is the bigger name?
Oh, shit. No, look at this. In this 247sports.com article, it has a list of people.
Oh, I did see that, but I didn't recognize
with their date of birth. Did you know Robert Kraft was born in 1941?
The dude's 77. Yeah, I know.
Oh, my goodness.
He might just turn 78, but I'm pretty sure he's 77.
He's the oldest person on this list. The next closest guy is 1944. These are mostly, for the most part, old dudes. It's crazy. This, first off, despicable. Absolutely despicable.
Absolutely.
Second off, my question to you, Jeezy.
Shoot.
Is the NFL going to come down hard on him? Because I think the NFL is going to give him a lighter sentence than what should be.
They're going to give him a 4-game suspension where he's not allowed to watch the game at the stadium that he owns.
Looking at you, Tom Brady.
Look,
4 games for your deflated balls. And you know why? Because the Patriots dynasty makes money. And what really should happen is Robert Kraft should not be allowed to participate in owners' meetings. He should be allowed to be the financial backer of the Patriots, but not the CEO, if you will. The NFL has a moral code the players must abide by in their personal lives, and I have to imagine that extends to coaches and owners. I hope that's the case.
Here's the quote. The NFL is aware of the ongoing law enforcement matter and will continue to monitor development. This story is obviously broken early. Obviously, Robert Kraft has billions with a B dollars, and ultimately something like this is all about the prosecutors in those areas, right? Because the prosecutors have a lot of leeway into what they can decide, what they'll charge him with, what they'll pursue. It's a big question for society even before the NFL. Like, what do we want to see come out of this? And I don't have all of the details. I don't know what's appropriate, but it sounds really bad.
I just want the NFL to give him his fair crackdown, because if you look at it, look at what happened with Ray Rice. Look at what happened with Kareem Hunt. There was someone else recently, I believe, who also has had a major suspension for domestic issue. This is a similar situation where the NFL needs to crack down and truly impose some punishments. And I'm worried for the fact that they will not respond appropriately due to the fact that Robert Kraft drives this money-making machine that is the Patriots dynasty.
The problem is when somebody has so much power, so much money, so many resources, our system is not built for someone that powerful to be abusive of the system and really get the checks that they need unless they're just crazy. So we've got to see what comes out of this. I mean, the reports are early. I'm not sure what was caught on camera. It's a big bust. There's hundreds of people. And from what I understand, it said there was 10 spas shut down in the Orlando area after a several-month investigation revealed that women there were in sexual servitude. It's just a horrifying situation. I don't know what's going to come of it because I don't know enough of the details about the specifics.
What do you think is more likely to happen? Van wins the lottery, or the Patriots go a season without a new scandal?
I think Van wins the lottery.
It's crazy, man. Like,
I mean, as long as
the Patriots have all these Super Bowl rings, and almost every one of them has a scandal associated with it.
Yeah.
Like, how is the NFL not imposing harsher restrictions on the Patriots organization?
You know how many scandals I have at work?
Zero.
You know how many would be permissible, I think, at one job location?
Zero.
You hit one scandal, maybe. If it's a little one, you get out of it, okay?
Like someone left the vending machine open and you took a Snickers bar out of it. That one's probably not going to get you fired, but you're not going to be allowed to go to that vending machine ever again.
Yeah, something like that. But if I suddenly was, I don't even know what I would be doing, something bad, and then someone's like, oh man, I just found out Jeezy's being bad. Fired. Done.
You're going to get in trouble.
I'm going to get in trouble.
I really hope the NFL does the right thing and cracks down hard on this because it is morally, ethically, legally reprehensible.
It's an unsightly part of our culture, and it's something that Robert Kraft has brought some attention to. I hope it'll bring the proper attention to these victims, that they'll get the help that they need, and the people who are running these things get the appropriate judicial response. You know, there's just nothing funny about this. It's just a bad thing.
So I'd like to grill this cheese and flip it to the next side. In recent memory, most of the social issues surrounding the NFL have typically painted the NFL in a negative light. So Jeezy and I decided it'd be nice to, for the interesting take section, bring up a situation where the NFL had a positive impact on society, and notably so. So Jeezy?
Yes, sir. So I saw this courtesy originally of NFL Network. They had a nice 30-minute documentary about it. Watch a big chunk of that. But this, I'm going to cite sportstalkflorida.com. Evan Weiner wrote this back in January 2017.
Wait, what? What was his name?
Evan Weiner. He wrote this article. So amazingly, it seems that the NFL at one time did something right on a social issue. So back in...
Before the days of Roger Goodell. Back
in the 80s, there was a new governor elected. Governor Meacham, one of the very first thing he does is remove Martin Luther King Day as a state holiday. So that's a day that no longer is celebrated by the state. For the state workers, it becomes a day that you have to go to work. They do all of that, which is, it just undermines all of the service and all the tremendous things that Martin Luther King Jr. did with his life and the reach that his family and everyone that was related to that cause had in shaping America for the better. So, sometime right around the same time as this is happening, the NFL had awarded one of the Super Bowls in the future to Arizona. So they were going to have basically the epicenter of our culture, the Super Bowl, right there in Arizona after this happened. So the NFL gives them basically an ultimatum to say, hey, we need to get this day back on the books. This is way too important of a day to just say, hey, you can't have it anymore. So they put it out there. It goes into a vote. In Arizona says no. They hold it. Yeah. So Arizona's like, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to have Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And so the NFL says, bye. They cancel the Super Bowl in Arizona. And the NFL works with the local media and politicians. They said, look, this is too important to go. We've got to get it there. If you will make this change to your state, we will bring the Super Bowl back as soon as we can. So it goes back up on the ballot, and this time they get Martin Luther King Day back instated in the state of Arizona. And then in 1996, the big show comes back. It comes back to Arizona. They play their first game in January 1996 there in Arizona, first one. And Glendale, Arizona is still now in the Super Bowl rotation.
Good for you, Arizona.
Good for you. Bad on you first, then good for you. Thanks, NFL.
Thanks, NFL, for making a positive impact on society.
It's a good illustration of some of the things that the NFL could be doing, but I think you said it right. Roger Goodell has been so wishy-washy and so just generally shitty about a lot of things that the NFL is just kind of rigor mortis about social issues. They just want to lay there and die as all these things happen around them and then just kind of look bad after it's over.
The NFL is with all these social issues, is kind of standing there in the line at Target, pretending like they don't
jargon.
Pretending like they're not hearing you say, "Excuse me, excuse me, sir, excuse me." The NFL is like eyeballing them out the side of their eyes, but still not acknowledging what's going on.
That's exactly how they are. They're there in the line. They hear the people screaming, doing all this stuff. They're like, I just want to pay for my latte and leave. Okay, I brought a pre-made latte out the end cap, and I'd like to just pay for that and leave.
It's a mocha frappuccino.
It's a mocha choco latte frappuccino grande.
With a hint of cinnamon.
So anyway, the NFL used to be able to do good stuff. Now, I don't even know.
Here's to hoping they can turn it around in regards to this current issue with Robert Kraft and make a positive impact on society.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That is well said, Van. With every bad thing that happens, there's an opportunity to make things right and to make things better. And this is a chance for the NFL to do that. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see. As always, you've been listening to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
As always, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, SoundCloud. Did I say all of them? There's a lot. We're everywhere. Make sure you tell your friends.
CheezyPodcast.com. That's where you can see where all the magic's happening. Plus, you can go on our website and submit an idea for something we want to talk about. Otherwise, hit us up on Facebook. Put it there. We'll talk about it.
That's exactly right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you next time.